Good evening, I'm Palki Sharma, and you're watching Azad Bol India. Today is October 28, 2025, and these are the major developments from the Middle East. Israel has reportedly prepared 5 possible military options, as tension rises once again over Gaza. The truce remains uncertain after Hamas handed over the body of another Israeli hostage. Families of remaining hostages are demanding that no new phase of the ceasefire be launched until all the bodies are returned. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum says Hamas knows the location of every hostage, yet the 2-week deadline has passed and at least a dozen bodies are still unaccounted for. Hamas spokesman Hazim Qassem dismissed the claim, saying Israel's bombing campaign has wiped entire areas off the map and that it's impossible to recover every body. Political pressure is building on both sides. Gaza lies silent, but the smell of gunpowder still lingers in the air. If Hamas fails to deliver, Israel has 5 plans ready. The first is to expand territorial control by moving the IDF deeper into Gaza. The second is to escalate airstrikes against Hamas commanders. The third is to launch recovery missions to locate and retrieve hostages' remains. The fourth involves diplomatic pressure, urging Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey to persuade Hamas through American mediation. The fifth and most drastic option is to scrap the existing ceasefire and return to open war. Together, these choices show that Israel is preparing for another major confrontation if its demands remain unmet. Meanwhile, Jordan's King Abdullah has rejected the idea of sending any foreign troops into Gaza. In an interview with the BBC, he said peace cannot be imposed with weapons, it must come from the heart. The king clarified that Jordan will not deploy forces to Gaza, noting that half of Jordan's population is of Palestinian origin. "We live next door," he said, "don't make us part of this war." Abdullah also drew a distinction between peace enforcing and peacekeeping, one imposed, the other agreed upon. His statement comes as part of a broader criticism of former U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan, which had urged Arab nations to train Palestinian police in Gaza. The king emphasized that no Muslim country will fight its own brothers. In Sudan, the civil war has entered a darker phase. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has admitted losing control of al-Fashir, a key city in West Darfur, now under the command of the Rapid Support Forces. In a televised address, Burhan described the retreat as a tactical withdrawal, not a defeat, and vowed revenge. UN agencies report that more than 26,000 people have fled al-Fashir since Sunday, adding to nearly 1 million displaced since the conflict began. Around 250,000 civilians remain trapped in the city without food or medicine, many are said to be surviving on animal feed. Analysts warn that this shift could change the power balance in Darfur and deepen Sudan's humanitarian crisis, yet the world's attention remains elsewhere. At the same time, Russia and Iran have announced a stronger partnership against the West. Speaking in Moscow at a BRICS ceremony, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said both nations stand hand in hand and shoulder to shoulder. He described relations between Moscow and Tehran as deep and reliable, covering nuclear cooperation and political coordination, and accused Western powers of weaponizing Iran's nuclear issue for their own leverage. In Lebanon, the atmosphere is growing more volatile. French troops serving with the UN peacekeeping mission, UNIFIL, shot down an Israeli drone over southern Lebanon after it dropped a grenade near their patrol. France has confirmed the decision was made by its own soldiers. On the ground, the United Nations, France, and the European Union have all condemned Israel for what they called a reckless and dangerous act. Israel, meanwhile, has intensified its airstrikes, claiming to have killed several senior Hezbollah commanders in the past 2 days. Analysts believe Israel may be preparing for a wider offensive in Lebanon after failing to meet its objectives in Gaza. U.S. Deputy Envoy Morgan Oggs visited Beirut this week, carrying a message that Hezbollah must be disarmed or Lebanon risks escalation. Hezbollah-linked media report that 2 of its fighters were killed in the latest Israeli strikes. With the United States, France, and Israel all directly involved, observers warn that Lebanon could be on the brink of a new conflict. That's the situation tonight across the Middle East, from the tense skies over Gaza and Lebanon to the deepening turmoil in Sudan, and the growing strategic axis between Russia and Iran. The region remains on edge, and the days ahead could shape the next chapter of an already fragile peace.